One of the things I think that's been instrumental when I look back at any of the successes I've had in my life, especially as I compare it to friends, family, colleagues, and people that I've known over the decades now, and I've seen the differences in the magnitudes or orders of success that we've had, is that continuous, relentless approach to finding success in the margins. And if you've got a commitment to your own success, if you've got a dedication to taking your life to the next level, and you look to the respective tactics that you have that are available to you, or the tactics that exist in the marketplace, whatever industry that you're in, whatever ultimately path it is that you seek. For most people, and I'll maintain this as I've seen the considerable differences that have separated me and people that I've known over time, the differences lie in your dedication to finding success in the margins, because it's the compound effect of the continuous incremental improvement that you make with the business that you run or the business that you want to build that makes the huge difference. The huge, huge difference. It's the determination to commit to waking up an hour earlier every day, but then the commitment to, once you've found that hour that you have access to every day, to making a dedication to figuring out what is the action, what is the education that is lacking within my body of experience, within my skill set to take me to the next level. I've got friends that are within the agency space. I've got friends that are in different areas within different scopes of business, as well as people that I see that are trying to raise or rise themselves in their careers. And I always see different versions of the same thing. People want to pay lip service to trying to rush towards success, but then they're not willing to put in the work that's required to get the success that they're looking for. And it's oftentimes the small things that can make such an incredible difference. But the challenge is trying to figure out what that small thing is, because that small thing is different for everybody. There's some of you, there's some of you people out there that are already waking up at 5 a.m. And you're saying to me, well, I already wake up at 5 a.m. I already read the books. Clearly, that means there's something missing because you're not getting the result that you're looking for in your life. That might be because you're a bigger planner than you are a doer, because you do, but you don't plan. So then you run blindly into the night. Figuring out all of these small things can make such a big difference in your life. And that's why it's this continuous thread of looking at the margins, looking at the incredible list of small things that you can tweak on a continuous basis that can often lead to an incredible outcome. There's people in the team that said, you know what, for the longest time, I intellectually understood that I should wake up an hour earlier. But then I actually started waking up an hour earlier. And now I'm beginning to see the huge difference that it can make in my life. There's people that talk about their ultimately desire to want to stop watching the endless documentaries, the endless Instagram stories, but then at one point determined that they're actually going to do that. Oftentimes, the bigger answers are already in front of us, but we're not prepared to create the time that's necessary to understand which of these ultimately answers is the one that's going to create the gateway or the breakthrough success. Your ability to attack a consistent flow of problems, of challenges, of issues that come up in your life. For many of you, you've read the books, you know the tactics, you understand the strategies because everything is already out there for you, but then you're still not getting the result which you seek. So then we come to realize it's not about the tactics at all. It's not about the specific strategy at all. In fact, it's not about the waking up at 5 a.m., the giving up of the Instagram documentaries or stories, the holding back from the late Friday nights to have the early Saturday mornings. It's the compound effect of all of these things, all of the massive or minor things. And oftentimes it can be one single thing that can lead to your breakthrough success. But the problem and the thing that we don't often realize is it's most often not the thing that we can immediately see in front of us, but it is part of the path. It is part of the story. So if you're a business owner and you've struggled with the challenges of acquiring new clients or of retaining new clients, you've simply not put in the level of work that's necessary to get you to that next level. And the market has shown you that. And again, the strategies are available to you. The tactics exist online. Often you know the strategies, you know the tactics. So what is it that's stopping you? It's not what is out. It's not what's out there. It's in here. It's in here. It's taken me a decade to make the emotional leap to get comfortable with the level of commitment required to hiring a running coach. That has made the difference in my running success. That has been the difference for why now I was able to run 100 miles in 22 hours, 45 minutes at a pace that I'd never been as comfortable with before. The marginal difference was finding the running coach. But this is nothing new. This is nothing that I didn't understand before. This has always been something that's been obvious to me, but I didn't put in the necessary work to build the level of discipline in my life to maintain having a coach that I would be able to commit to. So it's that continuous, ultimately, dedication to this constant combination of small things to identify the lever that can make the big difference in your life. But everyone's looking for the tactic, everyone's looking for the hack. Everyone's looking for the new tool, the new ultimately algo update, the new book, the new piece that can make that difference. And it's the continuous search for all of these types of things that can lead you to success, which is why often we pay lip service to this commitment, but we're not willing to put in the necessary work. It's difficult. It's difficult because most of this work that you will do, you will not be rewarded for. The work will remain hidden from view. You'll be rewarded for the successes that people see, but the work that's required to put in to get you those successes all happen in private. The only person who really, really knows the truth of it is you. It's your relationship with yourself. It's whether you know if you're still reaching for the distraction, it's you that knows if you're still saying yes to the demons. It's nobody else. It's nobody else. But then the message that you send out to the world is, I already read the book. I already wake up on time. I've read the strategies. But clearly there's something that's missing that means you've not yet got the result that you seek. And if you are willing to examine the facets of your life, you'll see that there are always continuous marginal differences that you can make, because this life isn't meant to be fair. You're not meant to simply get a result from making the one change, because that's not how success looks, and that's not how success ultimately comes out. So if you're an agency owner and you think that the latest cold email sequence is going to lead you to success, or if you think changing this one feature when it comes to your out of office replies is going to lead you to success, if you think that fundamentally the new running coach might lead you to success, here is a difficult thing. Maybe it will, most likely it won't. Because the success is in the marginal gains. But again, it's a continuous approach to working on all of these marginal gains in your life that over time can make the huge, huge difference. The difference that I've seen in my life after reading the 150 to 250 books I've read in the last few years hasn't come as a consequence of all of the books. I had to get through many of the books to find the one book that can make the big difference. And we don't know where these differences will come from. We don't know, and you can't find out in the marketplace where these differences come from. It begins with making that commitment to yourself, that commitment to put in the relentless work that's required to make the changes that you want in your life. Otherwise, time will pass. You will time travel, and it will be as if you haven't traveled anywhere at all because the outcomes haven't really changed. The results in your life haven't really changed. And when you begin to examine it, you've not really changed either. Not really. Not really. So that's why you need to focus on the endless array of all of the small things without immediate expectation of the reward, of the outcome. So the approach is the important thing here, because the tactic actually might work, but you've got to bank upon the tactic probably not working, because this is a reflection of how life is. I wake up early now, Deepak. I uninstalled the social media apps, but you've not yet installed the requisite level of work ethic that's required to get the result that you seek. Because success is always harder than we think. Sustained success always takes longer than we think. And most of us have no sense, no idea of the work that's required to get the result that we want. And therefore, the tempo, once you become awakened to this, the tempo at which you should approach ultimately the effort that's required has to change massively. Massively. But it's possible. You can change your life. You can transform all of your outcomes. The work that's required to get there is scary for many of us, but it's possible. For all of us, it's possible. Because the alternative is life passing, the years passing, time passing, and you still remaining in a place that's a disappointment to where you wanted to be. I've seen it. I've seen it. There's people that I know. There's people within my family that aren't happy with where they're at in their lives. Decades have passed and they've not really got the results that they want. And they make this unsettled peace or unsettled rationalization that, well, I put the work in, but it's not for me. It's all possible. We can all make it happen. And the thing is that what's happened for me as of late, as I think about fundamentally the changes that I've made, is that I make these videos because I realize the key to success for my future is to propagate and to give whatever energy that I have to the team, to my company, to all of the people around me, because actually much of my success is reliant upon my ability to communicate this message, to help the people around me elevate. So you can be both a symbol as well as a warrior in your own life, but you can't be the symbol before you begin the warrior. So become the warrior. Do the early mornings. Do the one tactic, but then do the next tactic again, and the next tactic again, and the next tactic again. But have the discipline to do it. Have the commitment to yourself to continue with the early mornings, to continue with the new strategies, and to be accepting that most of them will fail. Most of them independently will not give you the result or the return in investment that you seek. And just because the strategy or the tactic doesn't work, it might mean that you're not ready for the tactic. Just like in the same way, for the last 10 years, amongst the many coaches that I've worked with, I had to be ready for the coach that came into my life now, to be ready to get to a place where I could complete that distance. I've wanted to run 100 miles for over a decade now. And I've had a decade of not finishing events, of having inconsistent training, of having fundamentally a lack of an ability or desire to continually attack the margins. What changed, because it changed in the last few years, was that I installed a different operating system in my brain. COVID came. I decided to start the early mornings. I decided to rewire this. And it began with a relentless approach and attack upon education to upgrade myself to be ready, to attack the margins in my life. I need to wake up earlier. I need to make the changes that are necessary to achieve the goals that are important for me. And since then, many things have changed. And I make these videos now because I want to go to the next level again. And the 100-mile run is a signifier, is a turning point in my life because it's a new benchmark for me of what's possible, which is why I think it's possible for you all. So continue to work at all of the little things. Expect them to not immediately work for you, but trust in the approach, trust in the effort, trust in ultimately the continuous, relentless attacking of all of the marginal things in your life, because the road is never straight. The path is always potted. There are many potholes, there are many sidewalks, there are many distractions. My journey to waking up at 4:30 has not been easy. The journey has never been 100% consistent. My running career has had gaps, has had problems, has had challenges. But as I've slowly attacked the margins over time, I've begun to see that there can be, even at 37, different results in my life. That I could be 37 and someone who's got more energy and who's stronger than I've ever been, even when at 27 I was fighting Muay Thai, I was running marathons and ultra marathons. It's recalibrated my notion of what's possible. And the marginal change on the surface of it is that I found a running coach. But that change wasn't marginal at all. It simply was a case of me needing the time and the discipline to be ready to actually take the advice of a coach who was in front of me. So it never really was about the coach. It was about this. It was about my ability to attack the advice I was given with the necessary discipline to then transform my levels. Which is why I say to you, and I remind you that you know the tactics, you know the strategies, you've got access to all of the information. The problem isn't out there. The problem is in here and is in here. Change this, have heart, have heart. Because the brain is there, but the heart needs to push first so the brain can be ready to put the level of work in that's required to get the results that you're looking for in your life.